Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jake Stick with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of JakeStick.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. Before we get started, if you're watching this on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. Now, if you're listening to this on any of our audio platforms, please leave a 5-star review, a positive comment, and also don't forget to subscribe and download. I am thrilled to welcome our latest guest here today. He is a junior Olympian that has earned over 5 US National Taekwondo Championship medals. He's also a stuntman who's appeared on shows and projects such as The American Horror Stories, General Hospital, and The Suicide Squad. He's also the CEO of Simplicity Pictures. So please help me welcome Peter Jang to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome, Peter. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
I'm honored to be here.
I'm happy to have you here. So, Peter, when did you get into fitness, and how did that passion evolve and desire to pursue Taekwondo?
Well, actually, I started Taekwondo when I was very young. I first started with Kung Fu when I was about 8 years old. I was a family friend who recently passed just a couple weeks ago. But, a very old family friend that he taught me Kung Fu at a Chinese school that I was going to when I was younger. And then after that, we went to a bunch of different tournaments, and then my father found that I was very good at sparring, fighting. So he wanted to find something that was a little bit more organized. And since Taekwondo was an Olympic sport, or is an Olympic sport, decided to put me in there, and it was more of a structured type of thing. And, they have the Junior Olympics and the US Open and all these different kinds of levels to it. So, and then I stuck with that just because it was a fun sport to be in. And then also martial arts has just been a very grounding portion of my life. And when you talk about fitness, what I really loved about martial arts is it's not just about physical fitness, but also about mental toughness and about, determination and also empathy with other people. So.
That's always great. That's phenomenal. And I gotta say, it's there's so many different sides of martial arts and Taekwondo. I went to birthday parties that included Taekwondo in them when I was younger, okay. But unfortunately, I did not mix well. But even though I was a big fan of Power Rangers.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I think we all were, right? That was the thing to watch when we were kids. It was a lot of fun. You got everything from explosions to robots, and then martial arts and stuff like that. I mean, you can't go wrong with Power Rangers.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, when you decided it was time to elevate your Taekwondo to a junior Olympic level?
Well, I don't know if it was decided. I was just practicing. The way that it was set up in the Junior Olympic circuit was that there was your state championships, and then if you qualified in state championships, then you go to the national championships to compete for the nationals, right? So for me, I went into it just because it was fun. It was something I like to do, and it's a great little chess match that you have with somebody. I would say that a lot of times fighting is actually more mental than it is physical. I mean, obviously you need to have the right training, but you need to have that mental game, right? So and I kept on kind of just going as far as I could. I really wanted to push myself, and the best thing about competing was just being able to test my skills, not just the stuff that I've been practicing, but also in the moment, like what kind of strategy could I enact at the moment when it mattered. Because you can think about and plan all you want, but in those few seconds in every round, you really just have to trust that your training has made it so that you can react the way that you should, but then also that you have the courage to actually take a chance and possibly get injured if something went wrong.
And that's definitely something that's a chance that you could take. But however, those chances have turned into 5 awards when you received 5 US National Taekwondo Championship medals. So what was your reaction when you received those medals, and how did those help you improve take your skills to the next level?
Well, for me, I mean, the medals, they're cool, but I was really just about the journey and the training and really just a lot of it. At that point, martial arts was just something that I liked to do and something that I was passionate about. It still is. but I didn't really expect it to do anything for my life, like professionally or anything like that. I mean, I didn't even know that there were like, it was a real stunt industry like out there and all these different things. So, when I was doing those things, it was really just once I got one, then I was like, all right, what's next? All right, what am I doing next year? Okay, when do I need to go back and start training again? And when do I need to start, building muscle, cutting weight, all these different things. I was always just very goal oriented, I guess is the best way to put it. And once I finished one thing, I just moved on to the next. And what's the next thing I can do? Because this is just, I didn't have to think about it. It's just something that I wanted to do as an internal drive for it.
I'm glad you mentioned stunts because that was my next question. And when did that passion turn into stunt work?
Right. Well, actually, it was a bit because when I was in college, I joined the Taekwondo team at the University of California, San Diego, and I was an economics major. I just wanted to be a business person, but I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I had a big focus in college for entrepreneurship and marketing and those kind of things because that's just something that I was interested in. I took really crappy sales jobs, selling like cable television door to door, also as training for myself. I didn't like the job, but I was like, well, if I can do this, then I can sell anything, because I knew that sales skills were so important in the real world. So, by the time I graduated, I had kind of figured that my martial arts was just going to be something that I do for myself. It's just something that I love and I want to keep doing. It keeps me centered. It keeps me disciplined. But then when I moved up to Los Angeles, I was working at a market research firm, and I started doing extra work for fun, just like background acting work, just for on TV shows for fun, so I could, make a little bit of money. But it was also just really exciting to be on set and seeing all of it. I didn't coming from Ohio, I didn't even know that it was a real it was a real career. It was like I thought that you just walk down the street and Spielberg does this to you and goes, all right, here's $1 million. Meet me at the studio tomorrow. So once I got up here and I started seeing that, oh, this is an actual industry. This is just business. Like the director's a CEO, and then your producers are your board of directors, and you have your marketing people, you have sales agents, you have all these different things. I mean, I started realizing that there is a business side to this, and it is something that I had been training for. And then my martial arts training mixed in with my passion for acting. I did a 3-year Meisner program once I got up here at the Ruskin School of Acting in Santa Monica. And it really just all kind of fell into it. I realized how I always knew I had a very big interest in film and just an artistry in general and writing. But now once I saw all the dots connect, it's like, oh, well, I'm in the right place. I have the right passions. I can learn the stuff that I don't know, and then there's a lot of things that I can learn on the job too. Once I started putting all those bits together, I was like, okay, you know what? This is a career that I can actually. Sorry, I'm a little bit high. Let me go down a little bit. But I saw that this is something that I can really work at, and something that I can put my mind to and make a plan for myself. And as long as I stick to that, one, it's just work that I don't have to think about, because I could fail at something that I don't like, so I might as well try for something that I do.
Awesome. And one of those things that what I recognized you immediately when I was reading your background, and like you were part of one of the best fan fiction, best pop culture things in geek culture. You played Ryu in Batman legendary Green Ranger versus Ryu beatdown video. And what did it mean to you to face off against JDF, who reprised his role as Tommy Oliver for Batman in this viral video?
Well, it was amazing. When Aaron Shanke, he's the creator of Bat in the Sun, he's also the director of all these. When he first approached me, we had kind of done some other stuff, and when we put together the Scorpion from Mortal Kombat versus the White Ranger from Power Rangers, that was the first beatdown that we did. It was all just passion, because we like Power Rangers, we were into Mortal Kombat, we knew that he had this good fan base that would really hold us to task about all these different things. So we wanted to be as true to the games and also the culture of that was created with both of those. But it turned out so good, and then Aaron actually contacted JDF, or Jason David Frank, and he was so excited about it that he decided, oh, you know what, I'm gonna put myself in here too. So by the time we did that second video, and then he was going to be on set, he was going to reprise his role, he was going to do the the morphing for the first time in like 20 years, and all of us just on set, our hearts exploded, and he was such a cool guy too. He's so in love with his fans, and so dedicated to how much people had cared about him, and he cared about them right back. It was really great to see on a professional level, take away all of my personal side, but just as a professional, being able to see how his dedication and passion really impacted everything that he did and everybody that he met, including myself. So, it was such an honor to be able to work with him and to see that. And then when we moved forward and did the Lionsgate project, Street Fighter, Power Rangers Legacy War Street Fighter Showdown, and he actually pushed to bring me and Aaron to allow me to reprise my role as Ryu, and then actually turn me into a Power Ranger. I mean, boom! It was crazy. I mean, look, I even have an action figure of the character that I played, and it's just
smokes, that's so cool. For those of you who don't know, who are not watching this on our audio, Pierre just showed his action figure that they made. Can you see that again, please? Because I am. Holy smokes! Wow!
It's pretty dope. Yeah.
That is dope.
So I mean, it's just and then they had a party for us at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, and they threw a party for us, and big panel with 800 people in attendance. I mean, the fans are just amazing for Bat in the Sun, and Aaron. That's a testament to Aaron and what the work that he's done for it. But yeah, I mean, being part of all of that, it's left an imprint on my entire life. And then, when recently he passed, it was such a hard hit for all of us because, he was so beloved around the world, but then we also knew him personally. And to see that happen, or to know that happened, I mean, I don't know. All I can do is just be thankful that I was able to meet the man and know him on more than just a surface level, and I'll hold that with me for the rest of my life.
I'm also very grateful because he did come to Kansas City a couple of times. And one time I was very grateful to be in line because I played with so many action figures, assembled so many Megazords, written so many fan fictions and potential storylines. But to finally meet him, I was just in awe. It's still one of my favorite moments. And I'm so grateful to have that moment with him.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. I mean, he had that effect. He was that person. Inside and out, and I think that's why he had such well-deserved love for him everywhere.
Absolutely. I want to move on to some of your stunt work because earlier in my intro, I mentioned that you were started as a stuntman for several high-profile shows and movies. So I'm talking about American Horror Stories, the anthology series, not American Horror Story. And of course, the longest running soap opera in America, General Hospital. The Suicide Squad. This was the new one with John Cena as Peacemaker and Viola Davis reprising roles of Amanda Waller and Margaret Robbie as Harley Quinn, correct?
That's it. Right.
And then, of course, the recently canceled series Westworld, which was a huge HBO fan favorite. So what were some of the lessons that you learned from these sets that helped you grow as a performer?
Being able to see those sets, I mean, because obviously I've worked on the no budget, fan fiction kind of stuff, all the way up to your $200 million, budget films like Suicide Squad, and really you just kind of see the thing that really stuck out to me was that the people that are on those sets, it's about the passion and it's about it's about the product that they're making. A lot of times people can think it's about ego and all that kind of stuff, which I guess that might be part of it. But for the most, really what it is everybody's trying to do their best to make the audience feel a certain way, and all the way through all those deals. I mean, obviously, you run into some people that are, not the people that you want to emulate, but for the most part, everybody that I met on all throughout these last decade that I've been working in the film industry it's mostly just about passion. It's about really, these artisans are creating the best work that they believe that they can do, and then having the fans react to it in a positive way is the world to all of us. So I think the best thing that I could say is just, staying humble and keeping the passion up. That's really what I learned from working all these years.
I think that's incredible to have all these opportunities that you can able to work for and like to learn so many moments on so many sets.
Yeah, no, and say with Westworld, it was canceled recently, but I got to work with, some really a really great person there. And he played Scorpion in the new Mortal Kombat. I got to talk to him right before he left for it. So I was like, and that was and Mortal Kombat was something that I was huge into when I was a kid. So being able to spend the time with some of those people on set, and you get to know them as people instead of characters that were in some of my favorite films. Like it was a real treat.
Awesome. So speaking of films, let's talk about Simplicity Pictures. So when you decide I want to make my own movies and I want to make my own pictures, and how does Simplicity Pictures stand out in the film world?
Right. I started Simplicity Pictures in 2016. I use it's my company that I also use to deal with like studios and all that kind of stuff. So it's contractual, but it's also it's my production company, because the idea that I have is that I've been writing since I was young. My sister publishes graphic novels, so I think I got it from her. But even in college, before I even thought that the film industry was anything done, I wrote a whole bunch of stories that I'm still planning on turning into films eventually. But I realized once I started getting into the film industry, I was like, oh, this is actually something I've been doing for a long time. It's just I didn't know what to call it. I have all these stories that I wrote, which I didn't know would be for anything other than just for me to read or just friends and family. But then all of a sudden I have a medium where I can create something of my own. I have a lot to say. I'm very much into politics and philosophy and just knowledge in general. So once I've realized that I'm working in this medium where I can, and I know how to do these things, that I can create my own worlds and make my stories a reality on inside of a frame. That's all I needed. I was just like, okay, well, I have to do this. It wasn't even one of these things like, oh, maybe I kind of want to. It's one of these like, no, I have to make films. Like, this is just what I was meant to do. I wake up thinking about stories and thinking about how I can tell the stories in different ways, and how I can capture an audience, and how I can get what I want to say into the ears and minds of people. So when it comes to Simplicity Pictures, the reason why I made the name Simplicity Pictures is because I really feel that even though the world is a complicated place, it really is life itself is actually very simple. And actually one of the quotes that I have for my company is that when you're young, you're naive because you think the world is a simple place. And then when you get older, you become mature because you realize the world is a complicated place. But then when you become old, and you become wise because you realize how simple the world really is. Because at the end of the day, what is the world? What is your life? It's all about what you're passionate about. And you might be selling your time for money, like working at a job that you don't care about, maybe. Not everybody, but some people. But at the end of the day, those same people will still go home and they have the passions that they're going out. Whether it's travel or whether it's their family or building a family or getting a house and home projects or whatever. That's what we live for. And I really wanted to kind of capture the idea that no matter how complicated things get, it really comes down to these basic themes in our lives of good triumphing over evil, and hard work equals success, and love is one of the main reasons why we live in general. So these kind of themes are important to me, and these are the kind of themes that I really want to use my work to help influence. Even if it only changes the mind of one person, I think it'll be worth it.
I love your attitude. I love your attitude, Peter, regarding that. Because the thing is, yes, some people that like myself, we work at a nonprofit helping out the community and helping out others. But also we have to say, but however, the thing is, I've been working as a journalist and off and on since 2011 and telling people stories and entering my 12th year of Jake's Take. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel very blessed by it. And I need to tell stories. I need to recap America's Got Talent. I need to showcase my take on music and what's going on with The Masked Singer. So kudos to you.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, and congratulations on your show. I mean, I don't know. I think that's where really people come alive. It's like when they're dealing with their passions, like you are. That's when really people come alive. You can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their voice. You can hear it in their voice, and just see it in their complete demeanor. And I think that is really what makes the world go round.
That's awesome. So, one film that you're working on right now one film that you just wrapped up is your award-winning short film Mask. Now, Mask deals with a combat veteran who finds his escape, who has severe PTSD while boxing. And however, in this film, a arrival of a mysterious antagonist elevates that PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, to a dangerous level. So why did you decide to make this film?
Right. So, yeah, PTSD and trauma in general is a major theme in a lot of my writing, because I feel like today, especially after COVID, there's a lot of trauma that everybody in the world dealt with those times. Whether it be from lockdown or just maybe some people lost people or whatever. And I feel like mental health has been very much under served in our history, just because I think most of the time is like people just didn't understand it before. They're just like, well, you have your body, and the mental stuff, that's all fake because it's just thoughts. But your thoughts create how you use your body to interact with the world. And ignoring the mind and only worrying about the body is setting yourself up for failure, because your mind can poison your body, and vice versa. So you need to do both. You need to be balanced. And when it came to that story specifically with Mask, that it's about a veteran with severe PTSD who is trying to cope with his suicidal thoughts and trauma by working out at a boxing gym, which is something that veterans do a lot. They work out really hard, thinking that they can just get rid of the thoughts that way, or take it out on something else. But he can't escape it because he's on hold at the VA, which is notoriously backed up, and then his wife is calling him. And he's too ashamed to talk to her because of how he's feeling. And the reason why I kind of started with that specifically, my mother was a veteran, and growing up, she did suffer from PTSD. It wasn't from combat, but it was from something that happened in the military. And growing up, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand why, she was having such a hard time with a lot of things. But then as I got older, I started realizing, that it was a disease and at first at all. And then also working in the stunt industry, I started meeting a lot of veterans, who talked to me about this type of thing, And what's crazy is that people don't know this, but 4 times as many veterans die by suicide than have died in combat historically, which is just staggering. And with this kind of story, I really just felt that I wanted to allow the audience to experience, like, the way that it's shot is I wanted them to have a visceral experience with this person, and so that people can maybe understand it a little better, and also open some people's eyes about the very real problem that we have of not really taking care of our veterans the way that we should, and really just not taking care of mental health the way that we should. And I hope that this, along with my other works, and then also works with a lot of other people, will be able to open up the discussion for mental health, and really just try to help make some positive changes for the world.
I really think you're going to do that. And everyone, please know, if you are dealing with any kind of mental health right now, or know of anyone that's dealing with this conversation, please call 988. It's a suicide and crisis lifeline. It is very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Well,
definitely.
Sorry to make it a little serious, but however, let's get back to some good news for you. So Mask has started to pick up some steam and starting to get some nomination and awards. So what does that mean for in your opinion, that you received this good strong feedback?
Well, I mean, right now, I haven't released it publicly online or anything yet. It's still kind of doing the festival circuits, but getting that kind of validation was very, very nice to get. Just especially because since I did star in the film, and I really put some raw emotion into the film. It's always a little bit, there's a little bit of tension whenever I show somebody new, because really I'm opening up a wound and like letting them see my heart, So getting that validation would really helped. I won Best Actor in the Red Film Festival. I think there's a thing up there. And best narrative short at the Marina Del Rey Film Festival, and things like that. It just really made me realize that there is an appetite for this kind of stuff, even though it's a very difficult topic to deal with. And it really kind of helped bolster with me that I am able to tell these stories, and I'm able to have an impact on the audience, and that it gives me confidence to really push it out there so that more and more people can see it, because I do believe that it can help people. There's always a chance, when you first make a film or any kind of piece of art, that you're worried that it won't have the impact that you had. And luckily, this film has had the impact that I wanted on the audiences that I've been able to show so far. So it definitely gives me a little bit more confidence to show more people, but then also just be, well, in a way, proud of myself that I'm able to have this kind of good effect on people, because that's really what I believe true success in the world is being able to impact others in a positive way.
And I think you're on the right path, Peter. You are on the right path.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, we got to start winding down our conversation. So let's talk about social media. What are some of the social media apps that you prefer connecting with fans and also getting your connection basically connection?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm on Instagram. It's Peter Jang Official. It's very easy. That's my handle. I do most of my social media on there. It's kind of, social media is like a weird thing for me, just because like I like doing it, but I also don't like doing it. I think everybody shares that a little bit. But Instagram, I'm the most active on that, and then also Facebook, I'm active on there as well. You can find just looking up my name on Facebook, and then Peter Jang Official on Instagram. I also have my website, which is www.simplicity.pictures. There's no .com at the end; it's just simplicity.pictures. That people can find information about my company, about my films, and about me.
Awesome. So one final question is, if they want to see what the trailer for Mask, they want to see any of your work, where can they find it?
Well, I have a YouTube channel, Simplicity Pictures. If you look up Simplicity Pictures and maybe even Peter Jang with it, just to make sure. I don't know what I haven't worked with YouTube algorithm all that much. You can find my work on there that has the trailers and whatnot. I will be releasing Mask pretty soon, within the next couple of months. I haven't put out a release date, but you can watch out for me on Instagram, and I should be announcing it there when I'm going to release it.
Awesome, Peter. I'm looking forward to seeing Mask. So, guys,
I'll send you a link.
Perfect. Wonderful. So, guys, if you miss an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our channels on Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Spotify, and Spreaker. It's just Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube are my 4 ways you can find me at. It's just Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. And just as I told you, Peter, Jake's Take is entering year 12 in August, so jakes-shake.com. You can find more articles, interviews, and reviews. And also, one final time, everyone, if you need help, immediate help of a suicide or mental health, 988 is the suicide and crisis hotline. Don't forget, 988 is the suicide and mental health crisis helpline. Peter, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule today to talk with me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Jake. It's been an honor, and I hope to talk to you soon. Awesome. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a great one, everybody. Goodbye. Bye, buddy.